Most people first met Alita on the big screen, a powerful cyborg with no memories. But since the movie never got a sequel, millions of fans never learned the warrior's true fate. To truly understand her story, we'll dive into the epic original saga. This is the true ending, exactly as conceived by Yukito Kishiro in the 9 volumes of the original manga and its first sequel, GUNNM, Last Order. Though it's worth noting that other works expand the universe even further. The Battle Angel Alita saga, known in Japan as GUNNM, begins in a desolate future. Earth, or what's left of it, has become the scrapyard, a hellish wasteland lying under the perpetual shadow of Zalem, or Teferis, a floating city, suspended above the ruins, a symbol of perfection and false prosperity. The scrapyard is home to society's refuse, not only its physical waste, but its human one too. All the outcasts cast down from the city in the sky. It's a lawless world, where justice exists only in the strength of one's fists and steel. Amid this desolation, a cybernetic doctor named Daisuke Ido scavenges through the ruins. He's a compassionate man, though his ways of getting parts are morally questionable. One night, he discovers the remains of an android, just a head and torso, with its cybernetic brain miraculously intact. Ido decides to rebuild her and names her Alita, after his recently deceased cat. Alita awakens with no memories, a blank slate in a mechanical body. Ido shows her Zalem, the city floating in the sky, which becomes the symbol of an impossible dream, a life beyond the misery of the world below. At first, Alita's life with Ido is peaceful and full of care, until a dark revelation shatters that peace. To afford replacement parts and keep his clinic running, Ido works secretly as a hunter-warrior, a bounty hunter who hunts down criminals for money. Driven by a sense of responsibility and by an instinct she can't fully explain, Alita decides to follow in Ido's footsteps and become a hunter-warrior herself. During an ambush, a criminal attacks her, and in that life-or-death moment, Alita's past resurfaces. Her body moves on instinct, executing a devastating technique from the legendary martial art, Panzerkunst. Ido is left stunned. The warrior within Alita has awakened. From that moment on, she embraces her path as a bounty hunter, seeking meaning in her existence through battle. Alita's awakening leads to her first great confrontation, a brutal clash with Macaku, also known as Grewishka, a monstrous cyborg obsessed with devouring brains to soothe his unbearable existential pain. Macaku destroys Alita's original body, leaving her as nothing more than a head and torso, yet her fury keeps her alive. Ido intervenes, striking Macaku down with his warhammer, though the creature manages to wound him before escaping. Seeing Alita's fierce determination and unbreakable spirit, Ido realizes that her current body is far too weak. Years earlier, he had discovered a powerful relic from a Martian warship, the Berserker body, a masterpiece of combat technology. Alita accepts it, and with her new body, she vows to take revenge. While Alita recovers, Macaku seeks to grow even stronger by seizing the body of Kanuba, the undefeated champion of the Scrapyard's Coliseum. By fusing with Kanuba's formidable body, Macaku not only gains immense power, but also inherits the reputation of the surface's most respected warrior. Now wearing Kanuba's form, Macaku seeks one last battle. Alita pursues him deep into the labyrinth of the sewers. During their underground showdown, she realizes that her emotions, anger, pain, even compassion, are as real as flesh and blood themselves. Macaku reveals that he was once an abandoned child, later rebuilt by a mysterious doctor. As he dies, he smiles for the first time, finally feeling seen. Combat is her way of life. Her search for identity begins with the destruction of her enemies. After the battle with Macaku, Alita meets Hugo, a handsome, charismatic young man who survives by stealing cyborg parts, particularly spinal columns, for what he believes is a noble cause. Hugo is obsessed with Zalem, dreaming of earning enough money to ascend to the utopian city in the sky. Alita falls deeply in love with him, a mix of devotion and a longing for a normal life. But she's unaware of the dark truth. Hugo is being manipulated by Vector, the ruthless crime lord who rules the scrapyard's black market. Vector promises Hugo a path to Zalem, but his words hide sinister motives. Driven by love and the hope of joining him, Alita desperately hunts bounties to help make Hugo's dream come true. Tragedy strikes when Zalem, a jealous bounty hunter, discovers Hugo's crimes and marks him for death. Alita intervenes, but she can't save Hugo's body. Only his head remains. Haunted by guilt, and knowing Hugo's dream was built on lies, Ito uses his cybernetic expertise to give him a new mechanical body. Alita's hope is shattered when Hugo confronts Vector and learns the cruel truth. Zalem doesn't accept new citizens. The only way up is to be dismembered and sent there as raw material for the city's elite to use. Ito confirms it. He himself was once a citizen of Zalem before being exiled. Devastated by betrayal and lies, Hugo loses his mind and desperately tries to climb one of the massive tubes connecting the scrapyard to the floating city. Alita follows, begging him to stop. But it's too late. Hugo is fatally cut by a defense ring and falls into Alita's arms. Her first love, and her first glimpse of a peaceful life, dies in her arms. The loss leaves a deep scar on her soul, one that will haunt her forever. Consumed by rage and grief, Alita spirals into self-destruction. She abandons her life as a bounty hunter and dives into Motorball, a violent, high-speed sport where cyborgs arm to the teeth race and kill each other for glory and profit. Alita quickly rises to fame, a killing machine adored by the crowd and feared by her rivals. Her only goal, to challenge Jashugan, the reigning champion. Her manager, Ed, once Jashugan's rival, sees in Alita a chance for his own redemption through her victory. Jashugan is a formidable opponent, but his body is failing. He once underwent a miraculous brain surgery performed by Dr. Destinova, a brilliant yet amoral scientist operating in the shadows of the scrapyard. The procedure enhanced Jashugan's chi, his life force, but it's slowly killing him. Fearing for Alita's life, Ito begs Jashugan to defeat her, hoping she might finally return home. The final Motorball race becomes an epic duel for survival. Alita fights through the chaos, defeating every challenger, showing skill and mastery far beyond mere power. At the brink of death, Jashugan demands she unleash her true strength, Panzerkunst. In the climax, Alita unleashes her full fury. Though Jashugan dies on the track, he dies fulfilled, proud of their battle. His sacrifice inspires Alita. She realizes that fame was never her path. Combat is her expression, not her destiny. After her Motorball era ends, Alita is defeated and arrested. Despite saving the city with a nanobot weapon, the Collapser, to destroy Berserker Zalem, a crazed cyborg who terrorized the scrapyard, she commits a grave offense, using a firearm. Projectile weapons are strictly forbidden for hunter warriors, and that violation seals her fate. She is sentenced and taken into custody, a warrior stripped of her freedom, yet unbroken in spirit. At this point, the rulers of Zalem offer Alita a deal to become a tuned agent, a living weapon in Zalem's service, tasked with hunting down the most dangerous scientist on the surface, Destinova. Alita doesn't care about serving Zalem. She accepts only because it's her one chance to find Ito, whom she believes Nova is holding captive. Her mission takes her across the wastelands, where she meets Figure 4, a human fighter from the desert, and Chaos, the mysterious host of Radio Chaos who can read minds through radio waves. Figure 4, a simple, grounded man who values life on the surface, becomes Alita's new love. Their relationship is different from her past with Hugo, more mature, more real, grounded in understanding rather than an impossible dream. During her journey, Alita encounters the most dangerous rebel faction, the Barjack. This roving militia, led by Den, wields a massive rail cannon as its ultimate weapon. The Barjack's mission is to terrorize the scrapyard, and ultimately destroy Zalem itself. As Alita investigates Den, she uncovers a deep connection to Chaos, the mysterious radio host. It's revealed that Den is the physical embodiment of Chaos's suppressed rage and desire for annihilation, a separate android body born from his fractured psyche. Consumed by hatred for the world, Den wants Alita to join his cause, to use her power to obliterate Zalem. While pursuing Destinova, Alita operates under Zalem's direct command, but her Zalem handler betrays her, abandoning her to die once the city decides she's no longer useful. However, her colleague Lou Collins, who has grown fond of Alita, secretly sends her a weapon to help her escape. Now free, no longer under Zalem's control, Alita faces Den, who's trying to completely absorb Chaos. Alita intervenes, forcing Den to merge back with Chaos, ending the inner war that threatened to plunge the scrapyard into chaos once again. But the greater war still rages on. Alita, now a rogue agent, decides to protect the people of the scrapyard, her true home. The Barjack fires their rail cannon at Zalem, but the floating city obliterates it in an instant, revealing its godlike power. Eventually, Alita is reunited with Ido, but he doesn't remember her. She learns that Ido discovered Zalem's terrible secret, and the truth drove him to erase his own memories to escape the torment. Heartbroken, Alita turns her sorrow into resolve. She must uncover the truth that destroyed Ido's mind. She soon falls into a psychological trap orchestrated by Destinova. The deranged scientist, obsessed with the philosophy of the conqueror of karma, traps Alita inside a dreamlike virtual simulation. Nova's goal isn't to kill her body, but to shatter her soul, forcing her to relive her worst traumas and confront the ghosts of her past. The guilt of losing those she loved, and her insatiable lust for battle, embodied by Jashugan. Through this inner struggle, Alita finally understands and accepts her destiny. By reaffirming her will to live, she breaks free from Nova's illusion. The climax unfolds as Alita finally confronts Nova face to face. In a horrifying act of revelation, Nova slices open the top of his own head, exposing the grim truth about Zalem. Every citizen of the floating city has a biochip instead of a human brain. Zalem isn't a utopia. It's a vast eugenics experiment controlled by the supercomputer Melchizedek. Its citizens are nothing more than test subjects, living in comfort at the cost of their consciousness. Nova explains that the space city of Ketharis, physically connected to the orbital elevator, the massive structure linking Earth to space, is on the verge of collapse. Its destruction would trigger a chain reaction. Ketharis would drag Zalem down with it, unleashing a storm of debris that would rain upon and annihilate the scrapyard below. The source of this impending disaster is Melchizedek, the supercomputer that governs Zalem. Driven mad by the loss of its children, the space colonies and crews destroyed in the orbital wars, Melchizedek loses control completely, plunging the world toward ruin. Moved by a profound sense of responsibility for all humanity, Alita makes her final choice: to sacrifice herself to stop the cataclysm. To do so, she must use the Imagino's body, an advanced form of her cyborg body, and activate a built-in trigger that will unleash a massive transmutation event. Alita races toward the structure known as the Heavenly Hook, the anchor point of the orbital elevator, and injects the trigger. But instead of destruction, what follows is rebirth. The unleashed energy transforms the collapsing city of Kethares into a new form of life itself. Zalem and the entire orbital structure are transmuted into a vast organic landscape, a colossal tree, a flower blooming in the sky. 5 years later, peace returns to the scrapyard, thanks to the efforts of Chaos and Vector. Yet Figure 4, the man who never stopped believing, continues his search for Alita. He eventually encounters a senile Destinova, who guides him to the heart of the immense flower-like structure. There, in the glowing core of the celestial blossom, Figure 4 finds Alita, reawakened, alive, and fully human. she opens her eyes, her body now made of flesh and blood. Free at last from the chains of her cyborg existence, Alita and Figure 4 embrace tightly, reunited, two souls finally at peace beneath the living monument of her sacrifice and rebirth.